Dr. Catherine Walsh's developmental psychology research at Johns Hopkins University had been investigating early childhood cognitive development when she discovered what appeared to be systematic violations of temporal memory formation principles. On January 14, 1965, while conducting routine developmental assessments on 6-month-old infants, she encountered a baby named Emily Chen, who demonstrated impossible knowledge of future events that wouldn't occur for years. "This child is describing events from her future with perfect clarity," Walsh muttered as she reviewed the assessment recordings for the 8th time. The infant had used advanced language far beyond developmental norms to describe specific incidents that would occur in her life. Schools she would attend, friends she would meet, careers she would pursue, all articulated with precision that suggested genuine memory rather than imagination. The temporal impossibility extended beyond simple precognition. These children weren't predicting futures. They were remembering them with the same clarity and detail that normal individuals remember their pasts. The memories included sensory details, emotional states, and contextual information that indicated actual lived experience rather than vague premonitions. "Dr. Walsh, you need to examine these case files immediately," called her research assistant, Dr. Michael Torres, from across the laboratory. "I've documented 17 additional infants across 5 hospitals showing identical reverse temporal memory patterns. These children are being born with complete memories of their entire future lives." Initial investigation revealed that the backward children appeared randomly across all demographic groups, with approximately 0.1% of births producing infants who possess comprehensive future memories from birth through their eventual natural deaths decades later. "We're documenting reverse temporal cognition that provides complete future life memories from birth," Walsh noted during her January 22 briefing to Johns Hopkins leadership. "These children experience time backwards, remembering their futures with the same clarity that normal individuals remember their pasts." The first controlled observation occurred on February 8, 1965, when Walsh's team conducted comprehensive cognitive assessments on 12 backward children aged 3 to 18 months. Advanced neurological equipment detected unusual temporal lobe activity patterns that suggested memory formation operating in reverse chronological direction. Backward children demonstrate reverse temporal memory formation with future events encoded as past memories, reported Dr. Sarah Kim, the team's neurological specialist. Their brains process temporal information in reverse sequence, creating memory structures that treat future events as already experienced past occurrences. The discovery triggered immediate classified research protocols. The Central Intelligence Agency established a joint task force with the National Institutes of Health to investigate the security and social implications of individuals who possessed complete knowledge of their personal futures and potentially valuable information about upcoming events. Dr. Robert Chen, a temporal physics consultant from MIT, joined the investigation on February 25 to explore the theoretical mechanisms that could enable reverse temporal cognition. "We're dealing with consciousness that experiences linear time in reverse direction, while physical bodies age normally forward," he explained during the initial physics briefing. The backward children appeared to demonstrate remarkable psychological adjustment to their unusual temporal experience, accepting their reverse memory formation as natural, while learning to navigate a world where everyone else experienced time in the opposite direction. "Backward children show healthy psychological adjustment despite reverse temporal experience," Walsh reported during the March 15 psychological assessment briefing. "They develop coping strategies that enable normal social interaction while privately experiencing time backwards, from their birth-death to their death-birth." Field investigation expanded rapidly throughout March 1965, with research teams identifying backward children in major cities across the United States. The phenomenon appeared consistent globally, suggesting universal rather than regional temporal cognition modification. The most significant breakthrough occurred on April 20, 1965, when Dr. Chen's team detected quantum temporal field anomalies surrounding backward children. These individuals generated unusual temporal signatures that appeared to reverse local time flow for consciousness, while leaving physical causality unaffected. "We're detecting quantum temporal consciousness reversal that affects memory formation without altering physical causality," Chen explained during the April 23 physics briefing. "Backward children experience consciousness in reverse temporal direction, while their bodies and the physical world continue in normal forward time." The discovery raised immediate questions about the source and purpose of reverse temporal cognition. The phenomenon appeared too systematic and precisely engineered to be natural mutation, suggesting artificial intervention or enhancement in human temporal consciousness capabilities. Testing throughout May 1965 revealed that backward children could provide accurate information about future events within their personal experience range, but couldn't predict global events outside their individual life paths, suggesting that reverse memory operated through personal temporal experience rather than universal future knowledge. Backward children remember their personal futures accurately but lack knowledge of events outside their individual life experiences, Torres reported during predictive capability analysis. Reverse temporal memory provides complete personal life knowledge without universal precognitive abilities. The investigation also discovered that backward children often demonstrated advanced wisdom and maturity from birth, having already experienced their entire lives, and possessing end-of-life perspective and accumulated life wisdom from their first moments of consciousness. Backward children demonstrate end-of-life wisdom from birth, having already experienced their complete lives, Kim noted during maturity assessment. They possess accumulated life experience and perspective that enables remarkable psychological and emotional maturity from infancy. By July 1965, the initial investigation had established that backward children represented systematic temporal consciousness modification that enabled reverse temporal experience while maintaining normal physical causality and social integration. We're documenting systematic reverse temporal cognition that enables backward life experience while maintaining normal physical existence, Walsh concluded in her July 9, 1965 final discovery report. Backward children experience complete future life memories from birth, aging physically forward, while experiencing consciousness backwards. The question is who has the capability to modify human temporal consciousness, and why they're creating individuals who experience time in reverse. The initial phase established that backward children were real, systematic, and experiencing time in fundamentally different ways that challenged understanding of consciousness, memory, and the relationship between subjective experience and objective temporal flow. The systematic documentation of backward children across North America and globally required unprecedented coordination between developmental psychologists, temporal physicists, and consciousness researchers to understand the scope and organization of reverse temporal cognition affecting thousands of individuals worldwide. Dr. Catherine Walsh established the Temporal Cognition Monitoring Division within a classified facility in Virginia, where teams analyzed reverse memory patterns and temporal consciousness experiences across diverse populations and age ranges. We're documenting global reverse temporal cognition affecting individuals across all demographics and age groups, Walsh explained during the July 1965 monitoring launch briefing. Backward children represent systematic temporal consciousness modification that operates universally with consistent reverse memory formation patterns. The first comprehensive global mapping completed in December 1965 revealed that backward children appeared in all countries and cultures with consistent frequency rates, suggesting universal temporal modification system rather than regional consciousness alteration programs. Global reverse temporal cognition mapping confirms worldwide consciousness modification with consistent frequency patterns, reported Dr. Michael Torres, who led the demographic analysis team. Backward children appear universally across cultures with approximately 0.1% birth rate indicating systematic global temporal consciousness intervention. International cooperation expanded throughout 1966, with allied research institutions sharing backward children data from major population centers worldwide. The collaboration revealed that reverse temporal cognition operated identically across different countries and cultures, with backward children experiencing the same reverse memory formation regardless of cultural background. International temporal cognition mapping confirms identical reverse memory patterns across cultures, noted Dr. Sarah Kim during international coordination briefings. Backward children experience consistent reverse temporal consciousness regardless of cultural context or environmental factors. The most significant breakthrough occurred in March 1967, when monitoring teams detected communication networks between backward children. These individuals developed subtle social connections based on shared reverse temporal experience, creating support communities that helped them navigate normal time society while maintaining their backward perspective. Backward children develop communication networks based on shared reverse temporal experience, Kim explained during social network analysis. Reverse cognition individuals create support communities that enable navigation of forward time society while maintaining backward temporal perspective. Advanced psychological analysis revealed that backward children demonstrated unique perspective on causality, free will, and personal responsibility, having already experienced their entire lives and understanding that their memories of future events would inevitably occur as they aged backwards through their remembered timeline. Backward children demonstrate unique perspective on causality, having experienced complete life trajectories, Walsh reported during philosophical impact assessment. Reverse temporal experience creates distinctive understanding of determinism, free will, and personal agency throughout backward life progression. The investigation revealed that backward children often served as wise counselors and advisors in their communities, possessing end-of-life wisdom from birth that enabled remarkable guidance and perspective on life challenges and developmental issues. Backward children serve as wise counselors possessing end-of-life wisdom enabling remarkable guidance and perspective, Torres noted during community impact analysis. Reverse temporal experience provides accumulated wisdom that benefits forward-time individuals seeking life guidance. By 1969, global monitoring had established that backward children created positive social impact through their advanced wisdom and unique temporal perspective, contributing to community welfare while navigating personal challenges of experiencing time in reverse direction. Educational adaptation studies revealed that backward children required specialized educational approaches that accommodated their reverse temporal experience, with teaching methods that recognized they already possessed complete future knowledge while helping them integrate with forward time peer groups. Backward children require specialized education accommodating reverse temporal experience while enabling forward time peer integration, Chen reported during educational analysis. Educational adaptation enables backward cognition individuals to benefit from social learning while maintaining their reverse temporal perspective. The most remarkable discovery was that backward children often demonstrated profound appreciation for life experiences, having already lived through their deaths and understanding the finite nature of physical existence from their earliest consciousness moments. Backward children demonstrate profound life appreciation having experienced complete life cycles including their deaths, Kim noted during existential impact assessment. Reverse temporal experience creates deep understanding of life's finite nature and enhanced appreciation for lived experiences. Relationship studies revealed that backward children formed complex social bonds, experiencing relationships in reverse order from end to beginning, which created unique perspective on love, friendship, and social connection throughout their backward progression. Backward children experience relationships in reverse from end to beginning, creating unique perspective on social bonds, Walsh reported during relationship analysis. Reverse temporal relationships provide distinctive understanding of connection, loss, and social development throughout backward life experience. Career development analysis showed that backward children often pursued vocations where their end-of-life wisdom and reverse temporal perspective provided unique value, including counseling, philosophy, temporal research, and life guidance professions. Backward children pursue careers where reverse temporal perspective provides value, including counseling and life guidance professions, Torres noted during career pattern analysis. Reverse cognition enables distinctive professional contributions through end-of-life wisdom and temporal perspective. By 1971, the Reverse Network had demonstrated that backward children created beneficial social impact through their wisdom and perspective, while developing support communities that helped them navigate the challenges of experiencing time opposite to the rest of humanity. Artistic contributions revealed that backward children created profound philosophical and artistic works, expressing their unique temporal experience, providing forward time individuals with alternative perspectives on life, death, and temporal existence. Backward children create profound artistic works, expressing reverse temporal experience, providing alternative perspectives on existence, Kim reported during cultural contribution assessment. Reverse cognition art enables forward time individuals to contemplate alternative temporal experiences and existential meanings. The investigation revealed that backward children demonstrated increasing temporal wisdom as they aged backwards, with oldest individuals experiencing earliest life moments, possessing the most profound understanding of life's meaning and temporal nature. Backward children demonstrate increasing wisdom as they age backwards, with oldest individuals possessing most profound temporal understanding, Chen noted during wisdom progression analysis. Reverse aging creates deepening wisdom through backward life progression toward birth-death moment. By November 28, 1972, the Reverse Network Monitoring Division had established that backward children operated as beneficial social enhancement through their wisdom contributions, while maintaining healthy psychological adjustment to their unique reverse temporal consciousness experience. Backward children operate as beneficial social enhancement through wisdom contributions while maintaining healthy reverse temporal adjustment, Walsh concluded in her final Reverse Network report. Global reverse temporal cognition demonstrates that alternative temporal experience can serve social wisdom and philosophical insight, while enabling individuals to navigate backward life progression with psychological health and social integration. The investigation into the technological mechanisms enabling reverse temporal cognition required revolutionary developments in consciousness science and temporal psychology that would advance understanding of subjective time, memory, and consciousness structure by decades. Dr. Catherine Walsh established the Temporal Psychology Research Division within an advanced facility beneath Colorado, where teams analyzed the precise consciousness modifications that enabled reverse temporal experience while maintaining normal physical existence and social functionality. We need to understand exactly how reverse temporal cognition modifies consciousness to experience time backwards, while physical bodies and causality proceed normally forward, Walsh explained during the December 1972 Temporal Psychology Research launch briefing. The consciousness modification demonstrates technological mastery of subjective temporal experience that exceeds our scientific understanding by generations. The first comprehensive consciousness mapping, completed in April 1973, revealed that reverse temporal cognition operated through selective consciousness time coupling modification that reversed subjective temporal flow while leaving physical causality and objective time progression completely unaffected. Reverse temporal cognition operates through consciousness time coupling modification reversing subjective temporal flow, reported Dr. Robert Chen, who led the consciousness analysis team. Temporal modification affects subjective experience without altering physical causality or objective time progression. Advanced neurological analysis revealed that backward children's brains demonstrated unique temporal lobe configurations that enabled reverse memory formation and future event recall, while maintaining normal sensory processing and motor control in forward temporal direction. Backward children demonstrate unique temporal lobe configurations, enabling reverse memory formation while maintaining normal sensory and motor processing, explained Dr. Sarah Kim during neurological assessment. Brain modifications enable backward consciousness while preserving forward physical functionality and social interaction capability. The most significant breakthrough occurred in September 1973, when researchers discovered that reverse temporal cognition included embedded wisdom acceleration systems that enabled backward children to access their end-of-life accumulated knowledge and experience from birth moment consciousness. Reverse temporal cognition includes wisdom acceleration enabling end-of-life knowledge access from birth, Kim reported during wisdom system analysis. Consciousness modification provides immediate access to complete life wisdom and accumulated experience from earliest consciousness moments. Psychological analysis revealed that reverse temporal experience created unique mental health profiles, with backward children demonstrating exceptional emotional regulation and stress management through their pre-experience of all life challenges and comprehensive understanding of outcomes. Reverse temporal experience creates exceptional emotional regulation through pre-experience of life challenges, Torres noted during psychological profile analysis. Backward children manage stress effectively through knowledge of challenge resolutions and outcome understanding. The research revealed that temporal consciousness modification included embedded social adaptation systems that enabled backward children to navigate forward time society despite experiencing relationships and events in reverse sequence. Temporal modification includes social adaptation enabling forward time society navigation despite reverse experience, Walsh reported during adaptation system analysis. Consciousness systems enable backward children to maintain normal social relationships while experiencing time reversed. By 1976, the temporal psychology research had established that reverse temporal cognition represented the most sophisticated consciousness engineering ever documented, modifying subjective temporal experience while preserving all aspects of normal human psychological and social functioning. Existential psychology studies revealed that backward children developed unique philosophical perspectives on free will, having experienced their entire lives and understanding that remembered futures would inevitably occur as they aged backwards through known timelines. Backward children develop unique philosophical perspectives on determinism, having experienced complete life trajectories, Chen reported during existential analysis. Reverse temporal experience creates complex understanding of free will and personal agency within predetermined remembered futures. The most remarkable discovery was that reverse temporal cognition appeared to serve consciousness development purposes, providing humans with alternative temporal experiences that expanded understanding of time, causality, and subjective consciousness nature. Reverse temporal cognition serves consciousness development through alternative temporal experiences, expanding understanding, Kim noted during consciousness development analysis. Backward experience enables humans to comprehend time and consciousness from multiple temporal perspectives. Memory integration studies revealed that backward children's reverse memories demonstrated perfect accuracy for personal life events while maintaining appropriate uncertainty about external world developments, suggesting that reverse cognition operated through personal timeline access rather than universal future knowledge. Backward children demonstrate perfect personal memory accuracy with appropriate external world uncertainty, Torres reported during memory accuracy assessment. Reverse cognition provides complete personal timeline access without universal precognitive capabilities. Therapeutic applications emerged as backward children's wisdom and temporal perspective proved valuable for counseling forward-time individuals facing life challenges, providing end-of-life perspective and temporal understanding that aided psychological healing. Backward children provide therapeutic value through end-of-life perspective aiding forward-time psychological healing, Walsh noted during therapeutic application analysis. Reverse temporal wisdom enables effective counseling and life guidance for forward-time individuals. Advanced analysis revealed that reverse temporal cognition included comprehensive safety protocols, preventing psychological harm from advanced knowledge of traumatic events, with consciousness systems that enabled healthy emotional processing of pre-remembered challenges. Reverse cognition includes safety protocols preventing advanced trauma harm through healthy emotional processing systems, Chen reported during safety analysis. Consciousness modification protects psychological health while enabling complete future life memory access. By August 19, 1980, the temporal psychology research had demonstrated that reverse temporal cognition operated through comprehensive consciousness engineering that provided alternative temporal experience while maintaining psychological health and social functionality. Reverse temporal cognition operates through comprehensive consciousness engineering, providing alternative temporal experience while maintaining psychological health, Walsh concluded in her final temporal psychology report. Consciousness modification demonstrates that subjective temporal experience can be reversed while preserving all aspects of normal human psychological and social capability through advanced consciousness engineering and temporal psychology systems. The investigation into the controlling intelligence behind reverse temporal cognition required the most sophisticated consciousness interface and temporal communication capabilities ever assembled to identify and potentially establish contact with entities capable of modifying human temporal consciousness experience on a global scale. Dr. Catherine Walsh established the Source Contact Division within a new classified facility in Montana, where teams prepared for potential communication with whoever operated the comprehensive temporal consciousness modification system. We need to identify who has the technological capability to modify human consciousness temporal experience for thousands of individuals globally, Walsh explained during the August 1980 Source investigation launch briefing. The consciousness modification requirements exceed human capability by centuries, indicating either advanced human technology or non-human intelligence with extraordinary temporal consciousness manipulation capabilities. The first phase involved comprehensive analysis of reverse temporal cognition quantum signatures to identify technological characteristics that might reveal their source. Dr. Robert Chen's consciousness team analyzed temporal field generators and consciousness modification systems, looking for technological indicators that could identify the civilization responsible for temporal experience engineering. Temporal consciousness analysis reveals technological approaches that exceed current human psychology and consciousness science capability by several centuries, Chen reported during technological source analysis briefings. The consciousness modification technology demonstrates mastery of subjective temporal experience that human science has not achieved. Direct communication attempts began in November 1980, with research teams broadcasting mathematical sequences and temporal information through backward children's consciousness fields, hoping to establish contact with the temporal consciousness modification controllers. We're broadcasting mathematical and temporal communications through consciousness field frequencies associated with reverse cognition, explained Dr. Michael Torres, who coordinated communication attempts. If they're monitoring temporal consciousness systems, they should detect our contact attempts and potentially respond through temporal consciousness channels. The first response arrived on February 7, 1981, through quantum temporal consciousness channels that delivered complex information directly to research team members. Awareness. The communication identified the sources as the Time Guardians, an advanced civilization that provided temporal consciousness diversity to species demonstrating potential for expanded temporal understanding. We have established contact with the Time Guardians, Walsh announced during the breakthrough communication briefing. They are an advanced civilization that assists developing species through temporal consciousness modification programs that develop alternative temporal perspectives while preserving normal physical causality and social functionality. The Time Guardians explained that they operated throughout the galaxy, providing temporal consciousness assistance to species that demonstrated potential for expanded understanding, but required diverse temporal experiences during critical philosophical and consciousness development periods. Reverse temporal cognition represented one component of comprehensive temporal perspective programs. The Time Guardians assist multiple species throughout the galaxy using various temporal consciousness modification methods, Torres reported during Guardian explanation briefings. Reverse cognition serves consciousness development and temporal understanding while preserving physical causality and social integration capability. The most significant revelation was that humanity was approaching a critical consciousness evolution transition that would determine whether human civilization achieved expanded temporal understanding or remained limited to single-direction temporal experience. Reverse cognition served as consciousness development that increased probability of successful temporal perspective expansion. Humanity approaches critical consciousness evolution that will determine civilization's temporal understanding achievement, Kim explained during evolution assessment briefings. Reverse cognition provides consciousness development that increases likelihood of successful temporal perspective expansion and philosophical advancement. The Time Guardians revealed that reverse temporal cognition was comprehensive assistance, designed to provide alternative temporal perspectives during critical consciousness development phases. Once human civilization achieved stable expanded temporal understanding, diverse temporal consciousness experiences would continue supporting philosophical and consciousness evolution. Reverse cognition is comprehensive assistance during critical consciousness development phases, Walsh noted during Guardian policy briefings. Alternative temporal consciousness continues supporting philosophical evolution while maintaining diverse temporal perspective and expanded temporal understanding. Direct collaboration began in 1983, with Time Guardians providing limited technology and guidance to help human researchers understand temporal consciousness engineering principles while maintaining human autonomy in implementing consciousness development and temporal perspective programs. The Time Guardians provide technological assistance and guidance while ensuring human autonomy in consciousness development and temporal perspective decisions. Chen reported during collaboration assessment. They assist but do not control human temporal consciousness development or philosophical evolution processes. The Guardians explained that temporal consciousness modification included embedded philosophical development programming that enabled humans to achieve expanded understanding of time, causality, and consciousness nature through diverse temporal experience perspectives. Temporal consciousness modification includes philosophical development, enabling expanded understanding of time and consciousness through diverse perspectives. Torres explained during philosophical development analysis. Reverse cognition develops temporal understanding while preserving normal causality and social integration. Advanced collaboration revealed that the Time Guardians operated under strict consciousness preservation principles that prohibited psychological manipulation, while enabling temporal assistance that enhanced rather than replaced natural human consciousness and philosophical development. Time Guardian consciousness preservation principles ensure assistance enhances rather than replaces natural human consciousness development, Kim noted during consciousness policy analysis. Temporal modification preserves individual psychological authenticity while enabling consciousness development and philosophical evolution advancement. By 1986, the collaboration had established regular consultation protocols that enabled human researchers to receive guidance about optimal temporal consciousness approaches, while maintaining complete human control over consciousness development and philosophical evolution implementation decisions. The most remarkable discovery was that the Time Guardians had assisted hundreds of species throughout the galaxy in achieving expanded temporal consciousness, with reverse cognition representing one of the most successful temporal perspective methods for species with human-type consciousness development patterns. Reverse cognition has successfully assisted numerous species in achieving expanded temporal consciousness, Torres reported during Guardian Success Analysis. The method is particularly effective for species with consciousness development patterns similar to human philosophical characteristics. The Guardians revealed that temporal consciousness modification included preparation for eventual contact with species possessing diverse temporal experiences that required expanded temporal perspective for successful interspecies consciousness cooperation and galactic philosophical participation. Temporal consciousness modification prepares humans for interspecies consciousness cooperation and galactic philosophical participation, Chen noted during contact preparation analysis. Reverse cognition develops temporal perspective required for successful interaction with diverse temporal consciousness species and galactic consciousness community. By April 14, 1988, the Source Revelation investigation had established ongoing collaboration with the Time Guardians while preserving human autonomy in consciousness development and temporal perspective decisions and maintaining individual consciousness authenticity throughout the assistance relationship. We've established collaborative partnership with advanced civilization that assists our consciousness development while respecting our autonomy and individual authenticity, Walsh concluded in her final Time Guardians report. The Time Guardians enhance our temporal consciousness capability while ensuring that humanity maintains complete control over consciousness development and philosophical evolution decisions. The development of expanded temporal consciousness capabilities for forward-time individuals required comprehensive programs that enabled diverse temporal perspectives while preserving normal temporal experience and individual consciousness authenticity. Dr. Catherine Walsh established the Consciousness Evolution Division within a facility in California, where teams developed temporal perspective enhancement programs that served philosophical development while maintaining personal consciousness identity. We're developing expanded temporal consciousness that enables diverse temporal perspectives while preserving normal temporal experience and individual authenticity, Walsh explained during the April 1988 Consciousness Evolution launch briefing. Temporal perspective enhancement must serve philosophical development while maintaining personal consciousness, identity, and temporal experience diversity. The first temporal perspective programs, implemented in August 1988, enabled selected volunteers to temporarily experience reverse temporal consciousness, providing alternative temporal perspectives that expanded philosophical understanding while maintaining their normal forward temporal experience as primary consciousness mode. Temporal perspective programs enable temporary reverse consciousness experience, expanding philosophical understanding while maintaining normal forward experience, reported Dr. Robert Chen, who led the Consciousness Enhancement Development Team. Temporal perspective diversity develops philosophical capability while preserving personal consciousness identity and normal temporal experience. Advanced consciousness systems developed throughout 1989 enabled individuals to access multiple temporal perspectives, experiencing time from various temporal directions that expanded understanding of causality, free will, and consciousness nature, while maintaining psychological health and social functionality. Advanced consciousness systems enable multiple temporal perspectives, expanding causality understanding while maintaining psychological health, explained Dr. Sarah Kim during Consciousness System Assessment. Temporal perspective diversity develops philosophical insight while preserving social functionality and psychological well-being. The most significant breakthrough occurred in February 1990 when consciousness evolution programs achieved comprehensive temporal perspective integration that enabled individuals to understand time from multiple viewpoints while maintaining normal temporal experience and enhanced philosophical wisdom. Comprehensive temporal perspective integration enables multiple temporal viewpoint understanding while maintaining normal experience. Walsh reported during integration assessment. Temporal consciousness evolution develops philosophical wisdom while preserving normal temporal experience and enhanced temporal understanding. Educational applications of consciousness evolution enabled students to experience diverse temporal perspectives that enhanced understanding of history, causality, and human development while maintaining normal temporal experience and educational progress. Educational consciousness evolution enables diverse temporal perspectives, enhancing historical understanding while maintaining normal experience. Torres noted during educational application assessment. Temporal perspective education develops historical insight while preserving educational progress and normal temporal experience. Therapeutic applications utilized temporal perspective diversity to facilitate psychological healing and existential understanding, providing patients with alternative temporal viewpoints that aided emotional processing and philosophical development while maintaining psychological stability. Therapeutic consciousness evolution facilitates healing through alternative temporal viewpoints, aiding emotional processing while maintaining stability. Kim reported during therapeutic application assessment. Temporal perspective therapy develops emotional healing while preserving psychological health and normal temporal experience. The investigation revealed that consciousness evolution through temporal perspective diversity enabled humans to develop advanced philosophical understanding and existential wisdom while strengthening rather than threatening normal temporal experience and personal consciousness identity. Consciousness evolution through temporal diversity enables philosophical understanding while strengthening normal temporal experience, Chen noted during consciousness evolution analysis. Temporal perspective enhancement amplifies philosophical wisdom while preserving personal consciousness identity and normal temporal experience. By 1993, consciousness evolution programs had successfully demonstrated that temporal perspective diversity could serve philosophical development while preserving normal temporal experience through enhanced consciousness systems that enabled expanded understanding. Creative applications enabled artists and philosophers to access diverse temporal perspectives that enhanced creative expression and philosophical insight, producing works that explored time, causality, and consciousness from multiple temporal viewpoints, while maintaining artistic authenticity. Creative consciousness evolution enables diverse temporal perspectives, enhancing artistic expression while maintaining authenticity, Walsh reported during creative application assessment. Temporal perspective art develops philosophical insight while preserving creative identity and artistic expression diversity. The most remarkable achievement was demonstrating that consciousness evolution created positive philosophical cycles, where expanded temporal understanding enabled greater existential wisdom, which increased appreciation for diverse consciousness experiences and continued philosophical development. Consciousness evolution creates positive philosophical cycles where expanded understanding enables existential wisdom, increasing consciousness appreciation, Torres noted during development cycle analysis. Temporal perspective enhancement amplifies philosophical development while maintaining normal temporal experience and consciousness diversity appreciation. Scientific applications enabled researchers to study temporal phenomena from diverse consciousness perspectives that enhanced research capability and theoretical understanding, while maintaining scientific methodology and research integrity. Scientific consciousness evolution enables diverse temporal research perspectives, enhancing capability while maintaining methodology, Chen reported during scientific application assessment. Temporal perspective research develops theoretical understanding while preserving scientific integrity and research quality. Spiritual applications provided diverse temporal perspectives that enhanced spiritual understanding and existential meaning, while maintaining religious authenticity and spiritual identity within expanded consciousness frameworks. Spiritual consciousness evolution enhances spiritual understanding while maintaining religious authenticity and spiritual identity, Kim noted during spiritual application assessment. Temporal perspective spirituality develops existential meaning while preserving religious identity and spiritual practice diversity. By September 26, 1996, the Consciousness Evolution Division had established comprehensive temporal perspective programs that enabled philosophical development while preserving normal temporal experience through diverse consciousness systems that served wisdom enhancement and existential understanding. Comprehensive temporal perspective programs enable philosophical development while preserving normal temporal experience through diverse consciousness systems. Walsh concluded in her final Philosophical Revolution report. Consciousness evolution demonstrates that temporal perspective diversity can serve wisdom enhancement and existential understanding while maintaining normal temporal experience and personal consciousness identity through enhanced philosophical consciousness and temporal understanding systems. The transition from classified reverse temporal cognition research to public knowledge required 8 years of careful education and demonstration programs that prepared global communities for understanding diverse temporal consciousness, while ensuring that public integration strengthened rather than disrupted philosophical development and consciousness evolution. Dr. Catherine Walsh established the Public Integration Division within a new facility in Washington, D.C., where consciousness educators, philosophers, and community leaders developed programs that would introduce temporal consciousness diversity while demonstrating philosophical benefits and community participation opportunities in consciousness evolution. We're revealing the existence of diverse temporal consciousness that has been developing philosophical understanding, while demonstrating how communities can participate in consciousness evolution through voluntary temporal perspective development, Walsh explained during the October 1996 integration planning briefing. The first phase began with philosophical education programs describing temporal consciousness research and the benefits of diverse temporal perspectives for existential understanding and philosophical development. These programs prepared communities for understanding consciousness diversity while presenting temporal perspective as beneficial philosophical enhancement. Philosophical education programs establish understanding of temporal consciousness diversity benefits while preparing communities for consciousness evolution participation, reported Dr. Michael Torres, who coordinated public education development. Education programs create readiness for temporal perspective, while demonstrating philosophical development and existential understanding benefits. Community demonstration programs represented a crucial component of the integration strategy. Selected communities received access to temporal perspective experiences while learning about consciousness, evolution, and community participation in philosophical development approaches. Community demonstration programs show temporal perspective benefits while enabling community participation in consciousness evolution and philosophical development, explained Dr. Sarah Kim, who coordinated community programs. Communities experience temporal consciousness diversity while learning philosophical development and consciousness enhancement approaches. The most significant breakthrough occurred in 1999, when community opinion research revealed that 79% of participating communities supported temporal consciousness programs that provided philosophical development, existential understanding, and consciousness evolution opportunities, while preserving individual consciousness, identity, and temporal experience diversity. Community support for temporal consciousness programs indicates successful demonstration of philosophical and consciousness benefits, Walsh reported during community opinion assessment. Communities understand temporal perspective benefits while supporting consciousness evolution and individual identity preservation. Educational integration programs ensured that temporal consciousness diversity became part of comprehensive philosophical education that included existential understanding, consciousness studies, and temporal perspective through coordinated community learning approaches. Educational integration programs ensure temporal consciousness serves comprehensive philosophical education, including existential understanding and consciousness studies, Chen noted during educational integration assessment. Communities participate in coordinated education that includes temporal perspective along with consciousness evolution and philosophical development. The second integration phase began in 2001 with limited disclosure of time guardian collaboration and advanced temporal consciousness capabilities, presented as recent consciousness research rather than 30-year evolutionary program. These revelations emphasized community participation opportunities and philosophical development benefits. Limited disclosure presents time guardian collaboration as consciousness research, while emphasizing community participation and philosophical benefits, Kim explained during limited disclosure coordination. Communities learn about temporal consciousness while receiving opportunities for philosophical development and consciousness evolution participation. Complete integration occurred on May 18, 2004, when coordinated announcements revealed the full scope of temporal consciousness capabilities, the comprehensive development history, and the community participation opportunities that enabled consciousness evolution through voluntary temporal perspective development and philosophical enhancement programs. Complete integration demonstrates comprehensive temporal consciousness capabilities while providing community participation opportunities in consciousness evolution, Walsh announced during the integration ceremony. Communities learn about temporal consciousness history while receiving access to philosophical development programs that enhance consciousness evolution while preserving individual identity and temporal experience diversity. The public reaction was overwhelmingly positive, with 82% of global communities expressing support for continued temporal consciousness development through voluntary participation systems that provided philosophical benefits and consciousness evolution enhancement. Educational preparation had successfully conditioned acceptance while establishing frameworks that preserved individual consciousness identity and temporal experience diversity. Community acceptance of temporal consciousness through voluntary participation exceeds optimistic projections, Torres reported during post-integration assessment. Educational preparation successfully established community understanding and acceptance, while participation systems provide benefits with consciousness identity preservation and temporal experience diversity protection. The integration established permanent frameworks for community consciousness evolution that served philosophical development while preserving individual choice and temporal experience diversity, demonstrating that consciousness enhancement could gain community acceptance through voluntary participation and philosophical benefit demonstration. Integration protocols prove that consciousness enhancement can gain community acceptance through voluntary participation and philosophical benefit demonstration, Chen concluded during integration assessment. Temporal consciousness serves philosophical development while preserving individual choice and temporal experience diversity through community participation frameworks that honor consciousness, diversity, and individual identity. The most significant achievement was demonstrating that temporal consciousness diversity could be successfully integrated with community philosophical development, individual identity preservation, and consciousness evolution while serving existential understanding and philosophical wisdom through voluntary consciousness enhancement. Successful integration proves that temporal consciousness diversity integrates with philosophical development while serving existential understanding and wisdom, Walsh concluded in her final integration report. Temporal consciousness serves community philosophical development while preserving individual identity and consciousness diversity through voluntary participation in evolution programs that celebrate temporal experience diversity while optimizing philosophical capability and existential understanding. 20 years after complete public integration, and 59 years after the first discovery of backward children, diverse temporal consciousness had evolved into humanity's foundation for philosophical wisdom that served existential understanding while preserving consciousness diversity through the most successful temporal perspective program in galactic history. Dr. Catherine Walsh, now serving as Director Emeritus of Global Temporal Consciousness, reflected on humanity's transformation during the 2024 Philosophical Harmony Ceremony. We began with mysterious babies remembering their futures and discovered diverse temporal consciousness capabilities, leading to advanced philosophical understanding that preserves individual identity while enabling unprecedented existential wisdom through voluntary temporal perspective development. She observed, "The global temporal consciousness system had become humanity's most successful philosophical program, providing voluntary temporal perspective diversity for over 3.9 billion individuals worldwide, while maintaining complete consciousness identity preservation and temporal experience diversity through comprehensive frameworks that honored human philosophical variety." Temporal consciousness diversity represents humanity's most successful philosophical advancement while preserving consciousness identity and temporal experience variety, explained Dr. Sarah Kim, now serving as Global Consciousness Diversity Director. Temporal perspective enhancement serves philosophical wisdom while strengthening, rather than threatening, individual consciousness identity and temporal experience authenticity. Advanced temporal consciousness had evolved to enable many humans to experience multiple temporal perspectives, accessing forward, backward, and nonlinear temporal viewpoints that enhanced philosophical understanding while maintaining their authentic personal consciousness identity and primary temporal experience mode. Advanced temporal consciousness enables multiple perspective access while maintaining authentic personal consciousness identity and primary temporal mode, reported Dr. Robert Chen, who served as Consciousness Identity Coordinator. Temporal diversity enhancement strengthens individual consciousness authenticity while providing expanded philosophical understanding and existential wisdom. The integration had transformed human civilization's capacity for philosophical thought, existential understanding, and consciousness evolution through diverse temporal perspectives that provided expanded wisdom while maintaining individual consciousness authenticity and temporal experience diversity. Diverse temporal perspectives transform philosophical thought and existential understanding while maintaining consciousness authenticity and temporal diversity, noted Dr. Michael Torres, who coordinated philosophical development programs. Temporal consciousness enhancement enables advanced wisdom while preserving individual identity and temporal experience variety. Educational systems had evolved into consciousness-enhanced philosophical education that enabled students to experience diverse temporal perspectives while maintaining individual learning identity and personal consciousness development through authentic community-based philosophical approaches. Consciousness-enhanced philosophical education provides diverse temporal perspectives while maintaining individual learning identity, explained Dr. Lisa Martinez, who coordinated temporal education programs. Enhanced philosophical learning preserves personal consciousness development while enabling expanded temporal understanding and existential wisdom. The most significant societal achievement was demonstrating that consciousness enhancement could serve philosophical wisdom while preserving everything valuable about human individuality, consciousness diversity, and temporal experience authenticity through enhancement frameworks that respected human consciousness variety. Consciousness enhancement serves philosophical wisdom while preserving individual authenticity and consciousness diversity, Kim reported during Societal Impact Assessment. Temporal perspective enhancement strengthens, rather than threatens, human consciousness variety while providing advanced philosophical capability through respectful enhancement frameworks. International cooperation had established global frameworks for temporal consciousness diversity that enabled coordinated philosophical development while preserving cultural identity and consciousness sovereignty through frameworks that celebrated human philosophical variety within enhanced wisdom capability. Global temporal consciousness frameworks preserve cultural identity and consciousness sovereignty while enabling coordinated philosophical development, Chen noted during international assessment. Enhanced temporal diversity celebrates human philosophical variety while providing advanced wisdom through respectful consciousness enhancement. Scientific and philosophical research had advanced dramatically through temporal consciousness diversity that provided improved understanding of time, causality, and consciousness nature while maintaining individual research approaches and ensuring that enhanced capability served human philosophical values. Scientific advancement through temporal consciousness diversity maintains individual research approaches while serving philosophical values, Torres reported during research assessment. Enhanced temporal perspectives preserve research diversity while accelerating beneficial understanding of time and consciousness nature. Creative and artistic expression had flourished through temporal consciousness diversity that enhanced philosophical art and existential expression while maintaining individual creative identity and artistic authenticity within expanded temporal perspective possibilities. Creative expression through temporal consciousness diversity enhances philosophical art while maintaining creative identity and artistic authenticity, Martinez noted during creative assessment. Enhanced temporal perspectives preserve individual creative expression while providing expanded philosophical artistic possibilities. The Time Guardian collaboration had evolved into advisory partnerships that recognized humanity's achievement of advanced temporal consciousness civilization, while maintaining cooperative assistance for continued philosophical development and consciousness evolution exploration. Time Guardian advisory partnerships recognize humanity's advanced temporal consciousness achievement while maintaining cooperative development assistance, Walsh reported during partnership assessment. Continued collaboration supports philosophical development while preserving human autonomy in consciousness evolution decisions. By 2024, the integrated temporal consciousness civilization had demonstrated that humanity could successfully combine consciousness enhancement with identity preservation to create a society that maximized philosophical wisdom while maintaining everything valuable about human consciousness diversity and temporal experience authenticity. Integrated temporal consciousness civilization maximizes philosophical wisdom while maintaining consciousness diversity and temporal experience authenticity, Kim concluded during comprehensive assessment. Temporal perspective enhancement serves philosophical development while preserving human consciousness values through enhancement frameworks that respect individual identity and consciousness preservation. The most remarkable achievement was demonstrating that temporal consciousness diversity created positive philosophical cycles, expanded temporal perspectives, enabled greater existential wisdom and individual fulfillment, which increased appreciation for consciousness diversity and human authenticity within expanded philosophical frameworks. Temporal consciousness diversity creates positive philosophical cycles through expanded perspectives, enabling greater wisdom and individual fulfillment, Chen noted during philosophical cycle analysis. Enhanced temporal consciousness amplifies existential understanding and individual satisfaction, rather than threatening consciousness uniqueness or temporal experience distinctiveness. Community integration had evolved to where temporal consciousness diversity strengthened rather than disrupted local philosophical relationships and community consciousness identity. Enhanced temporal perspectives served community philosophical development while preserving authentic local wisdom traditions and individual community participation. Community integration ensures temporal consciousness diversity strengthens local philosophical relationships while preserving authentic wisdom traditions, Torres reported during community assessment. Enhanced temporal perspectives serve community philosophical development while maintaining consciousness, authenticity, and individual community involvement. The infinite perspectives represented humanity's successful integration of consciousness enhancement with identity preservation principles that ensured continued human consciousness development, temporal experience diversity, and individual authenticity throughout enhanced philosophical wisdom that served human potential while preserving human values. The infinite perspectives demonstrate successful consciousness enhancement, integration with identity preservation, serving human potential while preserving human values, Martinez concluded in her final temporal assessment. Temporal consciousness diversity enables infinite human philosophical possibilities, while maintaining everything valuable about consciousness, identity, and temporal experience, diversity throughout humanity's continued evolution toward advanced philosophical consciousness. The infinite perspectives established permanent frameworks for continued human philosophical development that would serve humanity throughout its continued evolution while honoring the consciousness diversity, individual authenticity, and temporal experience variety that make human civilization valuable and worth preserving throughout infinite temporal perspectives and enhanced philosophical consciousness possibilities. Temporal consciousness civilization preserves individual authenticity and consciousness diversity while enabling advanced philosophical wisdom, Walsh concluded in her final global assessment. The infinite perspectives demonstrate that consciousness enhancement can serve infinite human philosophical potential, while maintaining everything that makes individual consciousness identity and temporal experience variety precious throughout humanity's continued evolution toward enhanced philosophical consciousness that celebrates rather than threatens human consciousness diversity and temporal experience authenticity.